Hi, my name is Lee Davis, and I'm going to demonstrate a quick way to make loops in fly lines by simply welding them using a heat gun. And this is a portable heat gun, comes in a kit. What you do is you first want to fillet off a little bit of the coating of the fly line. And what that looks like is you'll cut off a little piece down to the core, but not cutting through the core. Next, we want a piece of clear heat shrink tubing. I'm going to cut that to size, and you'll see why in just a second. You take the heat shrink tubing, pass the line, and you want a small piece, so as small a piece of heat shrink tubing as possible to be able to double it back over on itself and fit it inside the shrink tube. And you'll understand why in just a second. So here we go. That's about the size of my loop. This is a front loop on a spade line or a fly line. This is a portable heat gun, and that's all we need to do this in the field. I'm going to just gradually heat this line up and shrink the tubing, which compresses the lines together. Now I just need to gradually heat this line slowly, being careful not to get it scorched, and just get it down up to temperature to weld. Now I'm going to roll the line, compress it a little bit more, and also cool it off. So there we go. In just a few seconds, I've created a welded loop on a fly line. I'm going to take that welded loop. Now I want to cut off the heat shrink tubing. So I'm going to cut up on the section that I've not heated up. And we're going to try to pull that off uniformly. So that we can take the shrink tubing all the way off of this line. What we're going to be left with is a nice uniform loop that is very durable. And voila, here we have a new loop. As you can tell, hard to distinguish this from what you get out of the factory. I've just managed to weld this piece of line together into a nice uniform loop. I can take my leader, put a loop in the leader, and you got a loop-to-loop connection. Just a fast and easy way to modify your fly line and make it work for you in the field. Lee Davison again. What we're going to do this time is we want to splice a line together. We're building our own line. Okay, it could be a single hand line, it could be a spade line, it could be a skagit, it could be a sink tip with some part floating, some part sinking. What we have to do on a splice is very simple. We're going to do a similar process that we did on the loop-to-loop connection, but I'm going to fillet off and prepare the line so that I can reduce the diameter and have a nice uniform splice, not too bulky. So I'm just tailoring this the way I want it. One thing you want to be careful of is you want both of these to be the same length where you've made the cut in the line. So I'll measure it, then I'll do the other side, the other end, pretending this is another piece of continuous line. You want to take care not to cut through the core. That is the nylon braided core that is in most of these lines. This coating is PVC. It melts around 210 to 230, 240. And you need a heat gun to get it up to that temperature. All right, we're pretending this is a continuous piece of line. So what I'm going to do next is fit this into a piece of shrink tubing. I'm going to overlap it and feed it back through. We're going to splice this both together, flat ends matching each other. Okay, that looks pretty good, maybe a little bit further forward. I want to center that now into the tube, into the shrink tube. And I want to overlap about a ½ inch on each side so that this fits together well. Okay, that'll do for this demonstration. All right. Now, all we do is heat this up to melting point, and the shrink tubing will do its job of compressing the line while I'm heating it. The care should be taken that I want to heat this uniformly. I don't want this to melt too fast in one spot. I don't want to scorch it. So I'm altering the amount of heat I'm giving this line. I want to raise it all to about the same temperature so it melts quickly and uniformly. Okay, and I'm looking at the seams, watching what the line is doing, so that when the division between each side starts to disappear, I know I'm reaching the melting point of the PVC, which is about 240, 230 Fahrenheit. So we're going about this slowly, being very careful. This is thicker line. The thicker line takes a little bit longer to heat up naturally. But you can see it starting, I can see it starting to melt. And you'll see the edges start to smooth. You'll see the seams start to disappear between the two pieces. I'm going back and forth. Slowly heating the entire line. Looking at the separation between the two, making sure that it gradually melts. Then when I'm finished, you'll see a few kinks. I want to roll this to straighten it out, give it a little bit of tension. The reason I do that is to get a nice straight weld, put a little more pressure, and to speed the cooling process. All right. Now, I've just bonded these two together to make a continuous piece of line. I'll let it cool just a little bit more. And I'm going to pull this shrink tube off. What's amazing about these joints is the adhesion of the welded PVC is very, very, very strong. Here we go. I've just connected these two pieces of line together that quickly, welding a joint, making a new line. So you can custom build your own lines quite simply and quite easily by taking portions of an old line that you like, adding it to a tip you like, and making a custom built line to fit your rod, to fit your fishing techniques. You can improve on this. I did this very quickly. You can take a little, you see where I could have melded this a little bit more, cut a chunk off this backside to taper it. But generally speaking, if you're just custom building lines, this is more than strong enough to hold together in most fishing conditions.